Water is intrinsic to our lives. Life on Earth began in the oceans, and then we human beings also start our life in the amniotic fluid, which is 99% water. 60 to 70% of our body is water too. And we can actually stay without food for longer than we can stay without water. Water enables a whole lot of conversation between our body cells so we can actually perform all these functions properly. Basically, I think we all know that hydration and drinking enough water really matters. But I'm going to tell you a little bit of a personal story of how and why I felt the need to do this video on a topic that's so basic. So, about 3 years ago, I went through a very rough patch in my life where I let my mind completely and fully take over me. I think we all know now that either we control our mind or our mind controls us, right? And I think I gave my mind the permission to keep recycling the same negative thoughts day in and day out. Until I realized one day that being a negative, constantly annoyed and forever complaining brat became my very nature. It became my personality to just whine and cry about things that just didn't go my way. And I became sort of hardwired to this behavior. And soon enough, obviously, no surprise here, my life outside started to become an exact reflection of my internal environment. Nothing, absolutely nothing went my way. Now hear me out. If you think you're a negative thinker and you really want to change that about yourself, what I'm about to tell you might interest you a bit. Now, there's a principle called Hebb's law in neuroscience, which says that nerve cells that fire together, wire together. If you repeatedly activate the same nerve cells, then each time they turn on, it's a lot easier for them to fire up in unison again. And eventually, they tend to develop like this long-term bond with each other. So over time, whatever thought, behavior, or habit you repeat, it will eventually become like an automatic, unconscious habit. So during this time in my life, I think my neurons had literally organized themselves into these long-lasting, specific set patterns. And because I was thinking the same thoughts, doing the same things, and feeling the same dense emotions over and over again, I was attracting, these external situations that started to give me more proof of all my negative thinking. My external environment started to validate all my negative beliefs. And these cycles would take over me like a dark cloud, which would not leave. It was like this negative whirlpool or like this, sinking sand. And it's like I really wanted to get out. I really did, but I just didn't know how. I felt very out of control. And soon enough, all these negative things that were happening outside of me started to give me a whole lot of anxiety. And then started this whole process of trying to get over my anxiety. And then after spending a whole lot of money on many different therapists, to actually get over this, one of them recommended something which was so simple, but I think that advice was actually worth $1 million. And it changed everything for me. Very gradually, but it really did. Now here's what he said. He said that I should create positive emotional hooks in my day, all through the day, to overcome this. Very simple, yet very powerful. All I had to do, guys, was pick a normal, regular activity that I do very often in the day and attach a nice, happy, uplifting feeling to it, or like an intention to it. So I started to do this with really small stuff in my life. Like while I was having my fat first coffee, I would take every sip with a whole lot of awareness. Every time I felt the warmth of the sunlight on me while I was driving, I would instruct my brain to snap out of the negative thinking. Because by now, this negative attitude had become like second nature to me. It was constantly there, And then here's the best thing I did. Now, I have about 2 to 3 liters of water daily. So every time I would take a sip, I started to put a whole lot of good intentions and really happy, powerful intentions for myself. Either I would say like a small prayer or literally just bless the water before drinking it. And here's the amazing thing. once I actually happened to Instagram it. And a lot of you send me such sweet responses, and that encouraged me a lot. It encouraged me even more because it was like I got instant gratification. So I made it a point to start recommending it to you guys every time I was practicing it. In fact, if you look at some of my old stories and some of my old highlights, there's a lot of this stuff in there. Think about it, guys. Water has been a sacred part of so many religions and cultures too. In Judaism, immersing yourself in water is like an act of purification. In Christianity, the Holy Spirit is symbolized by water. And in Islam, water is like, a divine gift and a purifier of the soul. From its religious significance to its healing nature to its economic importance throughout history, water sustains us. And I really feel like sleep, food, and water is where we get all of our life force. A big part of me resonates with the healing power of water. We are more like water than we actually know it, because when water stacks together to form snowflakes, each snowflake actually becomes as unique and individual as a human fingerprint. So water really matters. But these days, a lot of us don't even get thirsty because we are completely out of touch with our body. Or things like fruit juices, energy drinks, diet drinks, they're so easily accessible. When we need water, often, any of these other drinks would be closer and easier to get. And I'm guilty as well. I love my coffees. I have a lot of that through the day, which dehydrates me even further. The truth is, guys, most of us could definitely use a bit more water. When we stop drinking water, we teach our body that there isn't enough water for it in the first place. So it starts to make up for that. Our body literally starts reducing the amount of water it uses, and water is used for so many things, right? Like basic body processes, we need water to function, we need water to get rid of the toxins just to stay healthy. And your body starts to compromise in all of these places. In some sense, if you think about it, learning to live without water is a lot like learning to live without love. Because we teach ourselves to adjust to less and less instead of actually immersing ourselves into this, the richness that life has to offer. Instead of drinking deeply and feeling life flow through us, we take smaller and smaller sips. But we need to stop doing that. And since this year is all about finding love and balance in our life, it all starts when we take care of that universe inside of us. And drinking enough water with good intentions, according to me, is a part of that. Putting good intentions towards yourself into your water whenever you can remember has a very powerful effect, a very positive effect on your health and your overall well-being. The thing is, intentions may or may not change the molecular structure of water, and I think I'm going to leave that one for the scientists to figure out and debate on, because honestly, there is so much contradicting research when it comes to water memory. But think about it, guys, when you are, when you put pure intentions into the water that you're drinking, it definitely changes the way you experience it. And it could actually become an emotional hook for you too, in the day when if you are looking to basically rewire your brain into being more positive or more mindful. If you actually keep reinstalling and refiring the same neurons in your brain by repetition, you would have created a whole new pattern of neurons hardwired to this new way of thinking. And then your brain is no longer a record of the past, it actually becomes a map to the future. I think doing this also gives you a chance to sort of connect with yourself, do a quick simple thing for yourself. It really helped me get over that negative spiral that I'd sort of gotten myself into, and I gradually sort of came out of that. So every time I drink water now, I try to bring myself and my thoughts back into the present moment, and I say an affirmation that either I'm working on. It's like an instant boost, and this tiny act of mindfulness helps me build a much better relationship with myself throughout the day, and it helps me feel sort of centered, and I think that's why hydration is also a part of self-love. I'm all about finding different ways to make mindfulness part of my life every single waking moment, and not just a morning ritual. And I've realized it only comes with a whole lot of practice and a lot of patience. The only way being present can become part of us and actually become second nature to us is if we can start to sort of fit it into our daily life. Now, if drinking plain water is just not your scene, that's fine. there's this one recipe which I use a lot, which I've actually put up in my PCOS workbook. It's anti-inflammatory and it can help anyone who's looking for a happier, healthier gut. You can actually have 500 ml of this concoction when you wake up after you've had your fat first. Or, I know this will sound like an absolute cliche, but squeezing lemon into your water and having it all through the day is great as well, because this combination actually works as a bile thinner and it helps you metabolize the fat in your liver, more efficiently. But again, remember to do all of this with love, because every time we eat and drink out of love for ourselves, we absorb some of that kindness towards ourselves. This life-sustaining sense of being loved actually influences how aligned we are spiritually and how balanced our life feels. Also, I think it would be a great idea to turn this into a family ritual. So it would be amazing if you can actually invest in one of those giant, glass mason jars with maybe a small tap attached to it. Add some lemons, cucumbers, mint leaves, strawberries, oranges, whatever you want to the water, and encourage your family to actually drink water from it often. Now, not only will this sort of hydrate them, but it'll also remind them that each one of us has the power to heal ourselves if we choose it. And I think that is such a beautiful thought to live by. Now, after hearing all of this, if you still feel like you are just not someone who can have even 2 glasses of water a day, that's fine. Actually, I know a lot of people who have just few sips a day and they feel absolutely okay, But the thing is that with you guys, your body has just stopped identifying with thirst. You will have to start small. So listen to your body, tune into, what it's saying. When you drink water regularly and frequently, trust that your body will, tell you how much feels right for you. And that would actually be your sweet spot. Repetition reinforces and transforms, always. So remember that the love affair you have with yourself is literally key, and you've got to work at it every single day. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has helped. Until next time, live, love, and love.